It was Christmas Eve, 1945. In a small town in West Virginia, the Sodder family was settling in for the night after a day filled with holiday cheer. The stockings were hung, gifts were exchanged, and everyone felt the warmth of the season. But by the end of the night, their home would be in flames, and 5 of the 10 Sodder children would vanish without a trace. What happened that night, and why nearly 80 years later does the disappearance of the Sodder children remain an unsolved mystery? The story has left generations haunted, with theories that twist between tragedy, conspiracy, and the unknown. This is the story of the Sodder children, the Christmas mystery that has never been solved. It was around 1 a.m. when the Sodder home burst into flames. George and Jenny Sodder, the parents, managed to escape with 4 of their children, but 5 others were trapped inside. George attempted to rescue them, but every attempt was thwarted. His ladder was missing, his truck refused to start, and the phone line had been cut. He could only watch as his home burned to the ground, powerless to save the children who were trapped inside. When the fire finally died down, George and Jenny expected to find some evidence of their lost children. But as the ashes cooled, no remains were found. It was as if the 5 children had simply vanished. The disappearance of the Sodder children was soon shrouded in mystery. Authorities concluded that the fire was caused by faulty wiring, but George and Jenny were convinced something darker was at play. Before the fire, strange occurrences had haunted the family. A man had tried to sell them fire insurance, warning that their home would go up in flames. Jenny received a threatening phone call, and an unexplained object had been found near the house shortly before the fire. Theories of kidnapping quickly spread. Some believed the Sodder children were taken by a crime syndicate. Others thought it was retaliation for George's outspoken political views. And as more strange clues surfaced, the mystery only deepened. In the years following the fire, the Sodder family received cryptic clues hinting that their children might still be alive. Jenny found a mysterious photograph of a young man who bore a striking resemblance to one of her sons. The family also received a letter with no return address, claiming that the children were safe but living under different names. Some locals claimed to have seen the children with unfamiliar adults traveling out of state. Yet despite hiring private investigators and following every lead, George and Jenny could never confirm if their children had truly survived. They clung to hope, even placing a billboard along the highway, pleading for information on the whereabouts of their missing children. Many believe the Sodder children were kidnapped, taken by someone who had something against George. Others think it was an elaborate cover-up with local officials involved in a conspiracy to keep the truth hidden. Skeptics argue it was simply a tragic fire and that the remains were simply lost in the blaze. But the Sodders never believed it was that simple. They carried on the search for the rest of their lives, hoping for answers that would never come. Whether it was a crime, an accident, or something more sinister, the case of the Sodder children remains one of America's most enduring mysteries. Today, the memory of the Sodder children lingers as an eerie reminder of a mystery that refuses to die. Every Christmas, locals recall the tragic night when 5 children vanished, leaving behind only questions and the faint hope that one day, the truth will finally come to light. Was it a tragic accident, or was it a crime shrouded in secrecy? The answer remains buried, just as the Sodder family home was consumed by flames on that fateful Christmas Eve. Some mysteries may never be solved, but the story of the Sodder children will continue to haunt those who seek the truth.